Now they're out. Welcome to the Geekiest. This is Joe, and I don't seem to know how to work the board.
And I'm Kayla, and I am incredibly envious of the ink sitting across from me.
And I'm Eddie, leader of the Irken Armada.
Woo!
Welcome, Eddie. We welcome our overlords.
My almighty Talas.
So we have Eddie and the guest. Eddie is, you're connected, it's Flynns Arcade?
Correct, yeah, Flynns Arcade.
And I just want to preemptively give a geek point for the Flynns Arcade reference.
Woo! Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. That's like the ultimate in...
If you get the reference immediately, you know you're cool in our books. So,
Oh, yeah. No, that was-
everybody's cool, but nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, we're serious about our arcade. So, Eddie, as our tradition here is with our guests, we get you in the chair and then we want you to tell us your origin story. So,
Okay.
how'd you get geeky? What brought you into the geeky world?
All right, so I was that kid in high school, middle school, rocking the Pokemon cards in high school. I graduated in 2003, so we were right around that, right when it started coming out and getting popular. Actually, Yu-Gi-Oh in high school, my bad. And I just had this passion and desire, and then I frequented. You guys remember Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I grew up in Grand Prix.
There you go. So Grand Prix was right across the street from down the street from the private school I went to. So we would, disappear on Tuesdays when it was like $20 Tuesdays all day. And I just loved it. And then we started doing these events called Retrocades in South Florida. And we did a couple of them. And the outreach was awesome. And I found that, that people just had this happiness and this joy when they were playing and attending. And we wanted to bring some happiness and joy into this world without the chaos that's out there.
Yeah.
And then Flynns was born because I had thought to myself, if I ever made an arcade, I would call it Flynns.
Hell yeah.
Because of the Tron reference,
Yep.
And Kevin Flynn. And then, what's it called? My partner, who's not here, Will's not here this evening. He's demoing another place for us. So when we were demoing one of the houses that we were working on, we're like, man, we should really do this. And we think the time is right. We know esports is kind of around the corner in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming around the corner. FAU has those League of Legends and different leagues and that kind of stuff. And we're like, heck, let's just do it.
That's amazing.
That's it. And so we started back in November of 2018. Sat down at a Panera Bread in Glades for about, from November to February, planning the business plan, financial projections, demographics, personas, all that kind of stuff. And then scouted locations from February to June. June, we found our location and signed the lease. And then the lease was executed in July. And then we've been doing the build out and construction since July. So July, August, September, October. So 4 months, plus or minus, we've been doing the build out. And yeah, that's how it came about.
Goodness gracious. I'm gonna geek point for Grand Prix because and I have to ask because I also went to private school in South Florida.
Right.
What school did you go?
I went to Sheridan Hills Christian.
Okay.
On 95.
Okay, I went to St. Mark's.
Oh, okay, right on. So we probably played you guys in sports. I taught there. I taught there for 2 years. I'm a teacher technically. I went to Norwich University in Vermont, a military school.
Okay.
So I got my master's there in military history, and then I taught history, and then I said, I love the kids, but the parents can be...
I was a teacher as well.
There you go.
I was a middle school special education teacher in New York City.
Oh my God.
In the South Bronx.
God bless you.
And I did it for about 3 years, and I loved the kids.
Oh yeah.
Loved the kids. That was the best part when they would... You get that gleam, and you get that look in their eye when the lesson hit.
Like they get it.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, mister, I'm not stupid. I was like, I told you from day one, there are no stupid kids in this room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the other adults you have to deal with, parents, administrators, coaches, not coaches as in sports coaches, but the literacy and math coach.
Well, I taught in private schools, so we don't really deal with that kind of stuff, but you deal with the fact that parents are paying.
Yeah.
So they come. I call them helicopter parents.
Yes.
So So anyways, so I feel I know exactly. But I love the kids. If they were all orphans, it'd be good. I'd be totally down for that.
That's awesome.
But Anyways, I still love my kids. Actually, Will, my partner, as you've seen in Flynns, is actually one of my old students.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 25, 26 now, and we just kept in contact, and played paintball and airsoft together, and yeah, so.
That's very cool. One of my former students, because I was teaching stage combat for a while.
Okay.
One of my former students is in one of our D&D games now, and is a good friend.
There you go.
So, yeah, it comes full circle real
Not
fast.
all teachers are creepy,
No,
It's true.
No.
It's true.
And our friend Pete is actually going back to school. Has gone back to school to become a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, or other hosts.
All right.
Their hosts. So it's it's every so often it's like, Pete, just remember it's about the kids. Don't worry about the other adults. Just it's about the kids.
Yeah, and he's incredible. He's already doing some substitute teaching and doing some tutoring and things like that. And he's incredibly patient and a really cool guy. And I have a soft spot in my heart for teachers in general.
Yeah.
Just I know the plight and I know what they go through.
Heck yeah.
And one of the things that we think is so amazing, being in geek culture and all of that, and the renaissance that we're in of geek culture and D&D and video games and all of those things, is that teachers are starting to grab onto that and use those as teaching tools. And I think that's amazing. If someone would have introduced D&D to me when I was a kid and struggling in school, my life would have probably gone a very different way.
Oh, heck yeah.
You know?
That's what we're offering. I just got the one of the volumes of the history of the arcade, and I'm kind of brushing up on it, and I'm going to start approaching school to do field trips of arcade history.
Nice.
And then let the kids
So
come
cool.
in and kind of do their thing and geek out with us. And
Yes.
that's why one of the main reasons like Flynns is where it's at in Margate, because we have 8 schools within walking distance of our place, and the kids, where do they go nowadays? I mean, we had Grand Prix. We had Flippers is still there.
Yeah.
We had these places we could walk, and ride our bikes to. But now
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have no place, or they get kicked out.
I'm going to go Geek Point for that, because I love that you're reaching out like that. I think that's
Thank you,
amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it. I mean, also back, I think we're a little bit older than you, so
I'm 34.
So exactly 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's for us. It's we had almost every mall we went to had an arcade, and it was not uncommon for if you were going to the mall with mom and dad, for them to hand you a couple bucks and go, all right, see you.
We'll see you later.
Yeah, see you in a half hour. Or if you were home if you're home during the summer, once we got to, I don't know, about 10, 11, well, I had an older brother, I have an older brother, who's 5 years older than me, so it was like as soon as he got to be about 12, and I was about 7, then it became, oh, you guys can, if you want to go to, the arcade, whatever, you can take the bus, and we used to take the bus from where we lived in Miramar all the way down to Ocean Walk.
Holy
Yeah.
To play in the arcade there. Well, I mean,
Yep, I
That
used
was
to hang
far.
out in the arcade in Ocean Walk too. I love that place because I was a big old beach bunny like all my life. It's
Man,
crazy.
it's a mission. How many buses was that?
it was only 2 in the
There was
end.
only 2?
It was only 2.
There were no express buses back then.
No,
right?
no. So we picked up the one bus we picked up on like 441, and it took you to Young Circle, and then there was the bus from Young Circle that took you over to the beach.
Yep, it was always the change off at Young Circle to go anywhere.
where I got shat on by a pigeon.
Young Circle.
Yeah.
There's a good pizza place down there that, was it Mania? No, what's that place down there by PRL? Anyways, it's like that little, what I'm talking about? It's on the right-hand side. It's on the right-hand side.
Mamma Mia's?
Mamma Mia's down there?
Big Italian place.
No, Mamma
No.
Mia's is the big Italian
Right.
place. No, it's before
Yeah.
that where the bar is. They share a bay with a bar. It's like PRL. But anyways,
Yeah, no,
I know
no,
what you're
no.
talking
Oh
about.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember
I know
the
what
name
you're
of it, but
talking
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember. I actually was in high school. I was coming back from football practice, and I got we had summer practice, and I changing buses, and
Yeah.
I'm already sweaty as it is, and then it's like all of a sudden, oh, thanks.
A gift from above.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, that means good luck, and I'm like,
No.
No,
None of that is
there's
good.
It was indoors. No,
I worked at the airport once.
Yeah.
For a couple years, and we were doing something in Terminal 1 there, and there are pigeons that live in Terminal 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you talked about arcade. The arcade is just bringing back that nostalgia and all
Right.
of those things. And it seems like you guys are doing some outreach. Is that part of the ongoing program? Is that you want to kind of do a lot of that outreach and community building and all of those things as well?
Yeah, the biggest thing is in any business and in any venture, really, it's about the community. It doesn't matter about me or Will. It matters about what the community wants and what we call them Flynns fans want, and how we can be a blessing to them. And we do plan to have, I have business experience in the past. I own other corporations that are successful. Thank the good Lord that they're successful. I'm not broke yet. So, emphasize yet, but I have the experience. A lot of my friends say that I'm a nerd first and I'm a businessman second. I just happen to know business techniques. So
there you go.
So the biggest thing is we're going to roll out steadily. You'll probably see in the first month we won't do a whole lot, because I need to make sure that the inner workings, that the cogs in the machine are working, and then kind of like the Borg, we'll accept what's best and make it part of the collective hive mind. So we'll have that kind of roll out little by little. We have been approached by D&D groups already to do D&D there, and that was already a plan.
Cool.
I just talked to a really cool dice manufacturer who makes custom dice. He was at the Gamer Comic Expo, Mike, so we'll be having his dice there. I don't know a lot about D&D. I admire it from a distance. I do did you guys see the documentary Dwarvenaut?
Yes.
Dwarven Forge?
Yeah.
Steven
Yeah.
is his name. So I reached out to him through Instagram. I'm a big believer of just trying.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him, and him and I went back and forth, and then it was cool. So we'll do that, and then the other things we're gonna do are this really kind of quirky events. So we're gonna roll out with a steady monthly calendar. I'm big about organization. Steady monthly calendar, like Saturday morning cartoons, which will be from 10 a.m. to about noon. You will have unlimited cereal and milk. We'll be airing 80s and 90s cartoons, and we'll be, bring your pajamas and different things like that. A date night, a game speed. What do they call it? A game speed dating? No, it's like game dating or game speed dating or something like that.
Okay.
We're gonna do different unique stuff like that. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's super
And
cool.
I'm gonna throw a geek point for the Borg reference.
Yeah,
The Borg, the collective.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're big Star Trek
I
fans.
love Star Trek.
Yep.
The Picard's my favorite. That's my favorite
We are huge Star Trek
generation.
fans. Yes.
So yes,
Yes.
we're gonna be doing a ton of stuff.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
And we're always open to more. So if you have ideas, we can't take everything, but we will try. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're doing all kinds of stuff in the D&D. Joe's, doing a lot of cool stuff in the D&D world.
that's what I was asking before. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure. So you're gonna have the stand-up arcade games.
Correct. Yeah.
And then there's gonna be tables for stuff too, or is that only when you have special events? If somebody want to come and play board games or something.
So yeah, Flynns incorporates both tabletop and arcade and console.
Okay.
So
Cool.
we have various. It's like a giant rectangle, if you will. Our base is like a giant rectangle. So along the outer edges of the rectangle are the arcade uprights. We do have a mixture of the old and new. So I would give you from Pac-Man and Galaga all the way up to DDR Extreme, or I don't know if you guys have seen the new Atari Pong game. If not, I'll show you the video later.
Oh, I'd love to
it's
see
pretty
that.
dope how they set it up. And then in the inner track, everything is mobile, so that the space can evolve and change with what it needs. So there are tables, not folding tables. I'm kind of against folding tables.
Okay.
So not folding tables, actually really nice, nicely chosen. We have an interior designer that has kind of guided us.
Oh, nice.
So that's I believe in emphasizing your strengths and knowing where your weaknesses are. Will and I do not have an eye for what colors to use. So there'll be the folding tables, or not folding table, the tables in the center. And that will be there all the time. And then there will be a what they call baker's racks.
Okay.
There with a variety of board games, which once again we're polling our fans to decide what games should be there. For people to participate in. And then also on the latter end of that will be, you guys know those rolling TV mounts kind of thing that people roll around? There will be rolling TV mounts, but the way they are is the ones that have two screens on both sides. So that's kind of where the consoles are down the side, and then I have one spot in the back on the right when you walk in that will actually have larger televisions, 65 to 70 inch televisions, but it's set up like your best friend's house. That's the only way I can put it. It's not that they would have that big of a TV, but it has area rugs, nicer chairs, coffee table, so that when you step into that space, It's like you stepped into your best friend's house there. So yeah,
I love that.
But the middle's mobile.
I am a big advocate of comfortable seating.
Yes.
I have so much. I walk into a place that you're supposed to be able to be comfortable at for an extended period of time, and the seating sucks. Why?
Yeah, there's definitely a good mix of that, because you also have to think from a certain standpoint, like, you don't want these people here all day, you know, like you gotta keep them moving, you know. Like, so at Flynns, I cannot guarantee comfortable seats for everybody, but there are certain areas, and I think it's just a flow, you know. It's creating, what do they call it, feng shui?
Yeah,
it's all creating
balance.
the feng shui balance, yin and yang. You know, our interior designer Bradford's very much into that.
Very cool.
So yeah, so that's how it's. And then in the front is our bar. So, well, I say bar as in that is the structure. It is not a barcade. That's the thing.
Okay.
People need to understand. It's about the community and the gaming first. We just happen to have our beer and wine license.
Okay.
Make sense?
Okay, yeah, totally
So
makes sense.
That's
You're
how
not, yeah.
That's how it's structured. We are going to go for it, but we don't know if we're going to get it, because of course the almighty state of Florida and Broward County and Margate have to approve that.
Yeah.
So that's where we have, and we actually invested in the countertop is actually like that, like stone. It's
Nice.
like, you know, he chose it, so Bradford chose it.
Very
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love that.
Thank
So
you.
a little bit of everything, really kind of being well-rounded in the community. That's
Yeah.
super, super cool.
Yeah. We're trying.
Awesome. I have a bunch of board games at the shop.
Heck yeah, get anything you guys have. Anything you guys have. I have to figure out a system to keep everything like together. Because you know, you open up like a Monopoly board and you find this random clue piece.
Yeah.
You know, like, where the heck did this Mr. You know, Mustard or Peacock came from? Like, where's this
Yeah,
from?
and then you open up Clue and there's the top hat, and you're like, no one got murdered.
Yeah, exactly.
That was not Professor Plum in the observatory with the top hat.
Do you guys like The Office? No,
I never got into it.
All right, because I was gonna say there's a scene where he's like, "That's Dallas." Like they play the Dallas board game, and there's like Monopoly pieces. Anyways, so.
Well, I'm sure our listeners will get it.
Okay.
But yeah.
One thing I did see someone do something similar to that, and they actually had a system where you checked in and out the game.
That's smart.
So that
That's
the
smart.
person that was like, you know, you bring the,
That's really
you know,
smart.
to behind the counter. Okay, let me check and make sure everything's there before they even hand the game to you.
I saw Loot do that at one of the cons.
Maybe that's where I got it from. I saw it somewhere. I don't remember,
It
but
does
yeah.
sound like
So
something
that
like-
you count in and count out basically,
Yeah, that's
so
a good
that you
idea.
know the pieces stay.
But would you did it just write the name down, or was it based on ID?
I mean, I would think that there would be some kind of a collateral, maybe
Like a
some
card
kind of
or
like a card, or put up $5.
I was just
or
thinking for
something.
kids, you know.
Yeah,
How
like
would they
you
do it?
know,
No.
maybe. I mean, like we were just talking about working with kids because we teach. Joe teaches Dungeons and Dragons.
That's the. I have
I'm
to
out.
make sure
Okay,
that
time.
Hang on. You can explain to them what I'm doing.
This is what.
All right, there we go.
And just to explain to you, I forgot to start the timer, but we try to keep the show from an hour to an hour and a half. So
Okay,
I just
cool.
kind of watch the time. So you'll see me write the time on the board every once in a while just to remind Joe about where we are. But anyway.
About kids teaching.
Kids and teaching. So Joe is going to be teaching how to play D&D and also
That's
DMing
awesome.
and things like that.
That's awesome.
And we were recently having the conversation about how to deal with kids, because we want to be open to children, but at the same time you have to kind of set parameters.
Of course.
Like, parents have to be present from certain ages and, things like that, so that there is accountability.
Of course, like
for
open
stuff
door
like that.
policies, cameras, things of that nature.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that might be something, if they're younger kids, then maybe mom or dad has to sign for it,
That's true.
something like that. So there's accountability there.
Yeah, we were
Because you're not a
thinking-
babysitter.
That's
you know?
that's the biggest thing. It's gonna be a dance.
Yeah.
You're just learning the ropes as it goes, understanding the demographics and the what they call the personas. When you create a business, you have personas. So the personas as well. But yeah, no, the kids, it could get tough. They could lose pieces very quickly.
Yeah.
I'll have to buy a third set of Monopoly cards. Good God, they keep losing these things. But nonetheless, that's the joy, and that's part of the hustle. It's controlled chaos, is like herding cats.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we see that with the thrift store as well, where they
don't
bring
even get me started.
I mean, just on a general, people will pick up an item or pick up a piece of clothing, go try it on, and then later on you have to recover and figure out okay, where did this come from, or where did that go, and how come there's a lollipop here?
Yeah, that's the great one.
Oh
is
my gosh.
People, we have the advantage of being next door to a bank.
Right.
Which is cool. People go to the bank and then they stop into the
Lollipops.
store. And the bank gives out lollipops, which is great, except for when the kids come in with the lollipops. And they come in with the lollipops because they don't go out with the lollipop. And then I have to go find the lollipop.
They should just, you know why the bank gives out lollipops?
Why is that?
Because we're all suckers.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I used to question why the dentist did when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, they gave us a lollipop. That's great. And then I was like, wait a minute.
It wants to come back.
Yep.
This is a repeat business.
it's sponsored by Nestle.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even. No, I mean, these are just straight up old lollipops. Just straight up sugar on a stick.
Here, take two.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Here's some old fashioned candy to suck on as well.
Oh my god.
You just got a crown. Here's some saltwater taffy.
Right? Craziness. So yeah. I mean, kids are part of the package, and the next it's important to bring the next generation in and make them feel welcome.
Of course.
Because they're our future.
Of course.
And we got to keep this renaissance going. We got to keep this. Nerds are going to rule the world. And so we got to make more.
You guys have heard that song by? I'll have to find it for you. Anyways, there's called "Nerds Will Rule the World."
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Them and robots. It'll be one of the two.
Oh my god.
So that'll happen. But unfortunately, what's happening is that our society as a whole has, the new one, like the new generations, are very introverted. Their very communication skills are lacking.
Yeah.
The gift of gab is disappearing. And it is. People say, well, that's just the name of the times. That's what's happening. Just let it happen. I say, well, we can still maintain our humanness, if you will, and connect with other people and hang out, and that's a big thing for Flynns too. Just
connection.
Teaching people how to like exist as a human being. Like I had an example at the comic the convention this past weekend. A little kid had a sucker because we were giving them out, and he put the stick back into the bowl.
Oh no!
After he had finished, and he's a little boy, 4 years old, and I said, hey man, what if someone grabs that stick when they're pulling out the sucker? Would you like that? He's like, no. I'm like, then why don't you put it in there? It's just teaching them. That's all. It's in a gentle, loving way, and understanding that they're children. And I don't like the word "don't" or "don't do that." You can say it in a much different way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's with which I think is one of the interesting things with like this renaissance in tabletop role playing and board games is younger people are looking for that connection.
Yep.
They're looking to make those connections, and it's like with I've started doing the intro D&D stuff, and the folks who came out never played before, maybe they'd heard about it, or they were just, and it's like, okay, we're all sitting around the table, we're all sharing experience, we're all telling the story.
Yeah.
And you get done, 4 hours goes by, and we're like, okay, hey, you know what? We're at time. With the intro ones, I do like a two session thing. So the first time, I go through like, here's what you need to know how to play a character.
Like for your character sheet.
Yeah, I go through the character sheet, and I kind of we explain like, okay, this die, the D20 is for anytime you need to know whether you succeeded or failed, and so that way you pace them through it. You don't deep dive them into, okay, now here's the grappling rules, and this is how long you can hold your breath if you go underwater.
He turned the card 90 degrees. This is what happens.
Yeah, you don't go into it. So that way, if the situation comes up in the game, then you can bring it up. But
Right, and you teach them to refer to the reference material.
Does my cup have a leak in it?
No,
Does it?
it's just
Or is it
no.
just sweating?
It's
sweating.
yeah. It's okay to go on the table like that.
Yeah, okay,
We'll live.
But you were saying.
So it's like, everyone, it seems like though, like you say, oh, we're doing, tabletop role playing. It was, again, at the con, it was like, I'm sitting there and, I was waiting and, the schedule stuff was a little off, but we were like, so I was sitting over with the guy doing board games, playing, like, guy comes up and I was like, hey, you want to join us? He's like, oh, I'm waiting for D&D. I'm like, I'm the D&D guy. So I, walked over and we sat there and like, he was sitting there and then like someone else comes, oh, you're doing D&D? And I was like, yeah. And so she sat down and then it was like, slowly people glommed on.
Dude.
Now, some of the players were more experienced. Like the one guy had, two guys had like binders full of characters.
Nice.
And they're like, oh, does this count as Adventurers League? And I'm like, no, I'm not AL. This is a one shot I wrote.